What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into another edition of NBA Now from Chat Sports. And today it's just me, just Jimmy Crowther. I am your host today. No Tom Downey alongside next to me. But today we're going through a little bit of Mavs news and rumors, going through free agency, some trades, and some Luka Doncic talk as well. But we'll start this one off with Reggie Bullock of the, well, not of the New York Knicks, but he was almost a part of the New York Knicks, formerly of the Los Angeles Lakers. He entered free agency, struck a deal pretty early on with New York for 2 years, $21 million. Now, he had a player option on that second year, but then all of a sudden, they backtracked. And Bullock, his agent, and the Knicks all decided, hey, we're going to work together and create a new deal. But why is that? Well, apparently he's not, quote, fit enough to play. So my question is, does he have like an underlying injury that nobody's talking about? Is he just too fat to play in the NBA right now? I don't know what's happening with Reggie Bullock. But what I do know is that if he like dips just enough, like if his salary comes down just enough, I think the Mavericks might be interested in chasing after Reggie Bullock because he is a knockdown three-point shooter. I mean, he shot nearly 38% from three last season in his time with both Detroit and the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, outside of his three-point shooting, you're not going to get a whole lot from Reggie Bullock. He's an okay defender. He's not going to beat you off the dribble a ton, but he's a knockdown shooter, and that's what the Dallas Mavericks need alongside Luka Doncic, alongside their new point guard, and Delon Wright, who we'll get into here in just a minute. And Reggie Bullock brings that. Now the question becomes, is he healthy enough? Is he worth a new NBA contract? And if he is, what does that look like? Because now the Mavs cap space is starting to dwindle down just a little bit, and you got to think about what are they actually willing to offer a guy that may not pass a physical. You got to think about that and take that into consideration when you look at Reggie Bullock now because of what issues may have come about with the free agent. But now the question becomes, who will actually sign Reggie Bullock? I want to know from you guys. Put it down in the comment section here on YouTube. Tell me, where will he sign? Who's going to pick him up? Does he stay with New York? Maybe he ends up with the Dallas Mavericks. They get a new shooter to put on their bench, or maybe to start in the starting lineup. Reggie Bullock could be a fifth starter for Dallas if all things turn out right. But speaking of things turning out right, Mavs just pulled off a trade for their new point guard, Delon Wright. And of course, they pulled this off via a sign and trade because Delon was a restricted free agent. So they didn't have to trade for him. I mean, that didn't have to happen. They could have given him a big enough offer, and the Grizzlies would have to say, we don't really want to match here. But they didn't do that. The Mavs were scared that the Memphis Grizzlies could end up matching for Delon Wright because he was their only backup point guard behind Ja Morant. But they didn't do it. They pulled off a trade. They made it work, and they got their guy. According to Mark Cuban, this was a guy that they'd been targeting pretty early on in free agency, but they didn't want to make a deal quite yet because he was restricted. So they held off, and they got their guy. Delon Wright last season with the Grizzlies, he put up nearly 9 points per game, 4 boards, 3 assists. He's not a good three-point shooter. 29.8% from the field. What he brings this Dallas Maverick lineup is defense and versatility at the point guard position. Luka Doncic is going to be your ball handler. Delon Wright is your new point guard that can defend other guards that Luka Doncic cannot. And so you say, okay, well, what did they give up? It wasn't a lot. It was a straight up just 2 second-round picks for Delon Wright. The Memphis Grizzlies acquired the rights to Satnam Singh. If you don't know who Satnam Singh is, you should look him up. He's quite the interesting prospect over in India right now. But 2 second-rounders, we don't know what the details are on that yet. But for the Mavs, they get a starting point guard, and I think that was one of the goals coming into this offseason, and that's what Delon Wright brings you. He is your new starting point guard. You slot him in there for now alongside Tim Hardaway, but you can maybe switch him out for a guy like Justin Jackson. Maybe Dorian Finney-Smith slips into that role instead, Hardaway off the bench. And then it's Luka Doncic, the reigning Rookie of the Year, possible MVP. Stay tuned for that. Dwight Powell is your rim-rolling center alongside Kristaps Porzingis, who you hope is fully healthy. And with Wright in there, you get the defensive ability that a lot of these guys on the lineup don't bring right now. But the question is now, because the trade is done, Delon Wright's a Maverick, the Memphis Grizzlies now have 2 additional second-round picks, who actually won that trade? If you think it was Dallas, I want you to type DAL in the comment section below. If you think it was Memphis because they got the 2 second-rounders, type MEM. I'm taking the Dallas Mavericks on this one. They get a starting quality point guard that can play defense, and Memphis gets 2 second-round picks that may or may not convey eventually. So, good pickup here for the Mavs. I think both teams in the end got what they wanted. Now, some more signings, some more free agency moves that the Dallas Mavericks have made, and we all know this summer has not exactly been what the Mavs wanted. It didn't turn out exactly how Mark Cuban expected it to go. But here's what has officially happened. This is what is now on the books, and they can officially be called Dallas Mavericks. Delon Wright, as we mentioned before, from that sign and trade, 3 years, $29 million. That's what he got from Dallas. That's what he's getting paid. Seth Curry just inked his new deal, 4 years, $32 million. He makes a return to the Mavericks where he was just here a couple of years ago. He becomes an immediate shooter, a knockdown three-point threat that Dallas was craving this offseason, and they got it in Seth Curry. And then Maxi Kleber, of course, the rim protector. He's becoming a stretch 4, maybe even a stretch 5 in some situations for the Mavs. Returns to Dallas, re-signs for 4 years, $35 million. He was restricted, but Dallas didn't even give him the chance to go out and chase bigger offers. They said, hey, we don't want you to go anywhere. They gave him that $35 million for 4 years. And with all these signings, these 3 that have officially happened, now this doesn't include Boban Marjanovic or the official re-signing of Kristaps Porzingis quite yet. It also doesn't include the re-signing of Dorian Finney-Smith, who they've agreed to terms with him. But when you look at it, what Dallas has done this offseason, no, they didn't get that superstar to go alongside Luka and Porzingis. They didn't get that third guy, but they did actually bolster their bench, and they're kind of, somewhat deep at this point. Jalen Brunson is your new backup point guard. I don't think he's a starter now that Delon Wright is there. Delon Wright fits better what Dallas needs in the starting 5. Seth Curry is an immediate shooter. He's a scoring punch off the bench there at the 2-guard position. Dorian Finney-Smith, the Dallas Mavericks hope he can become a 3-and-D wing. Right now, he's stronger on the defensive end than he is on the actual three-point percentage, but that's possibly coming around. Maxi Kleber is your rim protector, and then big old Boban Marjanovic is in there anchoring the middle at 7'3". You gotta love it. Now, there's gonna be nights where Boban Marjanovic plays absolutely no minutes whatsoever, and there's gonna be nights where I think Boban could play up to 20 minutes for the Dallas Mavericks. Of course, that signing is not official quite yet, unlike the Seth Curry signing, but it'll come soon. Don't you guys worry. And now I want to know from you guys, from Mavs fans, which free agent signing are you actually more excited about? Now, I'm not including Delon Wright here because it was technically a sign-and trade, but I am including Boban Marjanovic and Seth Curry. If you're more excited to watch Boban play on the court next year, not just star in John Wick, type B in the comments section. If you think it's Seth Curry, you want to see the better Curry playing for the Dallas Mavericks, type C in the comments section. Now, while you guys do that, while you guys vote for either Boban Marjanovic or Seth Curry, I want to remind you to subscribe here to Chat Sports, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. And if you've been paying attention, if you're one of our loyal subscribers, you already know that we've been live for all of free agency. We've been doing incredible videos. We've been putting out stuff every single day about NBA offseason. The NFL is coming up here pretty soon, so you're going to want to make sure you are subscribed. youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. And while you're at it, give me a like on this video, why don't you? Now on to our next piece of news, maybe a little bit of rumors. Luka Doncic, the 2019-2020 MVP? Well, not so fast, okay? His odds are plus 5,000. He at least landed within the top 15 of MVP odds, the newest odds that have come out. And he was the only second-year player to land in that top 15. There was no talk of Trae Young, no talk of DeAndre Ayton, no talk of Jaren Jackson Jr., nobody else besides Luka Doncic. Now look, with Kristaps Porzingis on board next season, his numbers are probably going to look a little different than what they did in his rookie year, where of course he was the rookie of the year. He was special. 21 points per game, 8 assists per game, 8 rebounds per game, 6 assists per game. And then the three-point percentage at 32.7 is definitely something he can work on, definitely something he needs to work on because the efficiency has to come around for Luka Doncic. That is going to be one of, if not the biggest question mark going into this next offseason is can he consistently knock down his three-point jumper? And if he does, then maybe those MVP odds shoot up just a little bit. But I want to look at some guys that had similar odds to Luka because there was the top 15. These were numbers 11 through 15. You look at Karl-Anthony Towns there. He was plus 2,200 to be a MVP for next season. Now, Towns is on a horrible team in Minnesota. His numbers may be inflated because of that, so you got to take that into consideration when you consider him as an MVP candidate. Damian Lillard at plus 2,800 for the Portland Trailblazers. He just got a Supermax extension. He had an incredible playoff run in Portland. you got to think he's at least in consideration. That's why he's near the top, but not at the top. Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn, he is the guy now. He will be the go-to guy with Kevin Durant. Of course, you see Luka there at plus 5,000, and he has better odds than Kemba Walker, who the Mavs wanted in free agency. So you got to at least feel good about that, right? The Mavs get plus 5,000 odds for Luka Doncic, their reigning Rookie of the Year, who's expected to take a giant leap this next season. But how big of a leap will he actually take? He was so close to making an All-Star game this past season. So what do you think? In 2019-20, is Luka Doncic going to be an All-Star? If you think he will, I want you to type Y in the comment section for yes. If you don't think he will, I want you to type in the comment section for no. Thanks for watching, guys.